before I kind of wrap up here, I want to go into this quote that I really like. This Nelson Mandela quote: "If you want the cooperations of humans around you, you must make them feel they are important, and you do that by being genuine and humble." Nelson Mandela. This is a great quote. This is one of my favorite quotes, leadership quotes. And the reason is we can get really, if you get into leadership, and we'll talk about vision, and you'll go out there and you'll talk about all these different things of, where we're going, this and that. And sometimes let's just get down to the tactical. Let's just get down and just the interpersonal reactions, interactions with people, because I believe that is the core of leadership, is having this vision and getting people to go and move and do things. And that starts with the one-on-one relationship and interaction with people. And as Nelson Mandela says here, if you want the cooperation of humans around you, got to make them feel important. You got to do that by being genuine and humble. You got to care. That's where the genuine comes in. You got to care. You got to care about them. You got to care about the things that they've got going on. Not at the extent of you're doing things like, I really care about what they think about me. You should care about the things that they care about, because once they know that, or at least to some extent, like you got to care about them. You definitely got to care about that. And it's about creating that trust. Simon Sinek talks about this, about, trust. And it's that cooperation. There's different things he could have said here other than cooperation. But in particular, if you're trying to work with people, you got to be genuine and humble, and you got to make them feel like they're important. Because they are. At the end of the day, if you are trying to go towards a vision and you're moving people along towards there, they are providing the energies and the efforts to make it happen. Like right now, like in this very moment, I can hear equipment being run in our kitchen, where my wife is over there. They're getting ready for this tea party, and it's like, it's just like a fun tea party for kids. But she is regularly out there organizing events. Like she's a pretty introverted person. She's organizing these events that are bringing people together, and she's the one who she's out there making the food right now. She went and bought the supplies. She's the one that's coordinating. She's actually doing the efforts. And while I believe that the individual efforts of her making these cupcakes are just not that giant in the grand scheme of things, each effort and individual block that she does is actually important. There's a million different ways to get there, but if you don't take a step, you're not going to get there. So what she's doing is important. What the people are doing is important. Now the question is whether or not it's going in the right direction or not. That's what being the leader is there for. Being genuine and humble. I mean, humble is that's certainly hard for some people. It can be very hard, and I will say for myself, I get humbled by the difficulty of this task at hand. Being able to get in front of a camera, I've been putting it off for so long. And I go out there and I see all sorts of different, YouTube, social media types who are, they make it look so easy. In reality, they've put in tons and tons of time and energy and effort, and they're doing things that are like behind the scenes that you don't see. Like I was watching some videos earlier, and it came out that it's like for like tech videos of seeing like how to run audio video equipment. And the person was looking directly into a teleprompter. Well, so that means what that person did was they typed ahead of time. So it's one thing to do the recording and then do the editing. It's another to do the prep work to the point where you're writing out the entire thing. I'm not doing that with this. That's added effort. It's humble. It's definitely kind of humbling to do all those things. But the reason why... he's got this here, but he didn't like, I wasn't there when he made this quote, but looking at this quote, this is coming from clear experience doing the opposite. That's what a lot of people don't realize. I bet you, without a shadow of a doubt, that at one point in time, Nelson Mandela tried to get the cooperation, what he thought was cooperation from people, by making people feel insignificant, being shallow, and thinking higher of himself than he ought to. Only a human being who had the exact had that experience realized how folly it was could have written a statement like this. And I hope this meshes with you on some level as it does with me. I think this Nelson Mandela quote is a great quote in leadership.